All right. Well, I will go ahead and call to order the Larimer County Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. We will start as we usually do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand and join me for that? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, and thanks for your patience while we started just a couple of minutes late working through some of our video conferencing technical issues there. First thing on our agenda, we'll call for public comment from any member of the public who would like to comment on the county land use code or regarding relevant land use matters that are not on our agenda or not hearing items that are going to be on our future agenda. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on those items? All right, seeing none, we will close public comment. I'll ask, are there any amendments to the agenda that are needed other than potentially the consent agenda? Any other amendments? None, all right. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 20th, 2023. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those? Are there any corrections or otherwise I'd accept a motion?
I would move for approval.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion and second to approve the minutes as presented. We do a roll call on this one? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, same sign. Motion passes. I didn't allow us to introduce ourselves. We're moving too quickly here. Let's do this. So typically what we do is introduce ourselves as planning commissioners, and then we have staff introductions as well. So let's start with that. I'll start with you, Commissioner Barnett.
My name is John Barnett. I live in the Fort Collins area, and I've been on the Planning Commission for 4 years.
Good evening. My name is Jordana Barrick. I live just north of Fort Collins, and I've been on the Planning Commission almost 3 years now.
Hi, I'm Shelby King. I am a resident of LaPorte, and I've been on the commission since July of this year.
Hello, my name is Gary Green. I live in Northeast Fort Collins, and this is my just completed my 3rd year on Planning Commission.
Good evening. My name is Connor Duffy. I live in the Timnath area, and I've been on the Planning Commission for a little over a year now.
My name is Patrick Rowe. I live in Northwest Fort Collins, and I've been on the commission for about 2.5 years.
And my name is Bob Choate. I'm the chair this year. I've been on the commission this is my 6th year, and I live near Horsetooth Reservoir. And Ms. Axmaker, do you mind introducing staff?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're joined this evening by Leah Schneider from the Health Department, David Pringle from Engineering, Justin Curry from the Planning Division. We have the Community Development Director, Rebecca Everett. I'm Jenny Axmaker, the Planning Manager. We're also joined by Ashton Brodel from the Health Department, as well as Stephen Rothwell from the Engineering Department, and Karen, I'm going to script your last name, Nizat, also from our Engineering Floodplain Division. So with that, I'll go over a couple quick procedural items. We respectfully request that all members of the public silence their electronic devices. If you need a copy of the agenda, there's some available right here next to the door. For the hearing procedures, for each discussion item tonight, we'll begin with a presentation from county staff, followed by a presentation from the applicant with time for any clarifying questions from the commissioners. There will be an opportunity for any members of the public to address the commission with their comments on the matter. Both the applicant and county staff will have an opportunity to respond to any questions or concerns raised during public testimony. The commission will then ask any remaining questions of the applicant or staff before entering into deliberation and working towards a decision on the matter. For public comment, please wait to speak until you've been recognized by the chair. Please maintain civility, refraining from audience applause, comments, or disruptions, whether positive or negative. Please make all comments to the commissioners from the podium. A portable mic is available if needed. And please state and spell your name at the beginning of your comments. Please speak directly into the microphone so that any remote participants may hear you. And upon request, any assisted listening devices are available for the hearing impaired. Tonight, we have one consent item on the agenda, as well as one item on the discussion agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So our consent agenda is generally includes items of which are non-controversial, haven't received a lot of opposition, and are recommended for approval by staff. And as opposed to our discussion items in which we would typically hear a full hearing and have an opportunity for public comment. If an item is not pulled from the consent agenda, there will be no public hearing, there will be no public comment. We have one item on the consent agenda this evening, the Gilmore Acres Lot 9 subdivision, file number 23, land 4331. I'll ask members of the public and the planning commissioners if anybody would like to pull that from the consent agenda, which again is the only way we'll hear public comment on this item. So would any of the planning commissioners like to remove this from the consent agenda and put it on the regular discussion agenda? Is there any member of the public who would like to do so? Again, this would be your only opportunity to provide public comment on this agenda item. All right, seeing none, we have the one item on the consent agenda. And I'll read this for the record. The request is a preliminary plat approval for a subdivision to create two existing non-conforming parcels into legal single-family residential lots at approximately 2.33 acres each, located in the RR1 zoning district. And B, an appeal to Article 2.3.3 of the Land Use Code related to minimum lot size. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
A second?
All right, there's been a motion and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion amongst the planning commissioners? I'll request a roll call vote, please.
Barrick,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barnett,
Yes.
Choate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda is approved. All right, now we move on to our discussion items. We have one item on the discussion list, which is the City of Loveland location and extent, file number 23, zone 3549. Whereas most items in our, most discussion items that we vote on are recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners, a location and extent, aka L&E file, is a matter in which we make the final decision. And our decision is not a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, absent some level of appeal, which wouldn't go to the Board of County Commissioners anyway in this case. So just a reminder for those in the room and those on the Planning Commission, our decision on this matter is the final decision. With that, I would turn it over, Mr. Curry.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, I will be discussing the City of Loveland location and extent application. The location and extent request. The City of Loveland is looking to construct a new 10-space parking lot and access to serve the natural wild area property located here. It is at the intersection of US Highway 34 and Glade Road, where that will be a future signalized intersection at a later time. So this is meant to coordinate with that signalization effort. Per Colorado Revised State Statute, whenever any county planning commission has adopted a master plan of the county or any part thereof, no road, park, or other public way, ground or space, no public building or structure, or no public utility shall be constructed or authorized in the unincorporated territory of the county until and unless the proposed location and extent thereof has been submitted to and approved by such county or regional planning commission. And then Article 644 of the current Laramie County Land Use Code considers the following as public projects subject to the L&E review process: public schools, hospitals, public campgrounds, public trails and trailheads, and parks and public roads. As mentioned, the purpose of the L&E review per the Land Use Code is to determine if a public use structure or utility proposed in unincorporated Larimer County conforms to the adopted Larimer County Comprehensive Plan. The L&E review is not a review of a Land Use Code standards nor a technical review of the proposed design. To approve an L&E application, the Larimer County Planning Commission must find that the proposal is consistent with the Larimer County Comprehensive Plan based on consideration of relevant plan principles, maps, and elements. For this request, the Larimer County Comprehensive Plan was consulted. These next few slides are a list of numerous items that were included in my staff report as well as the applicant's project description. So I won't bore anyone and everyone by just reading through them again. But there are several items relating to Chapter 2 in the vision and mission statements, various plan themes, as long as the other principles associated with the comprehensive plan. If any commissioners or someone from the public wants to go over these in further detail, please let me know, and myself or the applicant will be able to do that. Like I said, there's numerous items here that relate to the rural development, community connectivity, along with the watersheds and natural resources section of the comprehensive plan. In summary, the application was referred to multiple agencies, including Larimer County Engineering, Health and Environment, Road and Bridge, GIS, County Parks, and the Flood Review. We received comments back from Engineering, Larimer County Floodplain, and Larimer County Health Department. Those comments were provided to me after I submitted my staff report, so they were included. But a majority of those comments related to more of the technical nature and site plan review process and the next steps. And so they're kind of meant as a, I'll say a heads up, or just kind of what the applicant to expect to look for when they do submit for technical review. And some of those comments, again, were related to, floodplain, mainly, affecting the base flood elevations. I believe a desire to potentially install a restroom or other facilities on the site. Yeah, that was, again, mainly dealt with more technical items. Public notice was given to surrounding property owners, and a total of 31 property owners within 500 feet of the property, and no comments were received. That's a duplicate slide there, sorry. Findings and recommendation. The applicant has provided information with respect to this proposal, which does not reveal any significant issues or conflicts. As long as the proposed parking lot is constructed in a way that meets requirements of any state, county, and local regulations, staff finds that this proposal is consistent with the intent and purpose of the Larimer County Comprehensive Plan. The Development Services Team recommends approval of the City of Loveland location and extent file number 23-Zone 3549. Subject to the following conditions. The technical review and approval is required prior to any construction of the project and prior to applying for any applicable construction permits and/or building permits. And with that, I'll take any questions that Planning Commission may have.
Any planning commissioners have any questions for Mr. Curie? Thank you very much, sir.
And then the applicants from the City of Loveland are here to give a presentation as well.
Great.
Actually,
Please come on up.
An HDMI plug.
Oh, cool. He's got it.
Perfect. Same one on this one.
Thanks, Justin.
Okay. Whoa. Hi, everyone. My name is David Crawford. I'm a Parks and Recreation Planner with the City of Loveland, and I'm here to present our little parking lot that we have under design. So here's a little vicinity map of our project area. It's right on the intersection of Highway 34 and Glade Road, which will coincide with the Larimer County intersection project that's going to go at that intersection. So a little bit of recent property history. So it was purchased by the city of Loveland in 2009, and that included continued residential access for the adjacent property owner. So we do have an access to the property owner to the southwest there, which we're planning on mitigating or including the access. The 2013 flood happened and that caused major impacts to the river corridor. So in 2018, we had initial planning for the wild natural area, and that resulted in a determination that a new traffic signal is required at the site access. Therefore, Larimer County also wanted to put an intersection there, so we wanted to collaborate. So grants were pursued by Larimer County to assist with the signal cost. Then in 2019, the Big Thompson River reached 28 flood restoration work completed. So there is a flood road that's going kind of along the property that comes down to the river. We're planning on utilizing that as a trail. In 2022, the grant was awarded for the traffic signal. And then 2023, Larimer County, we're in design process for the traffic signal, or they are. And we are also in design process for the wild natural area. So that's what we're talking about today. And then anticipating construction is in 2024 for the traffic signal, followed immediately by our parking lot. So here's a little picture of the existing conditions out here. This is looking to the south at the very western edge of our property. And then this is at the northeastern edge of the property looking to the southwest. So here is a photo of the Big Thompson River, the flood restoration project in 2019, and then what it looks like now in 2023. So as you can see, the seeding effort that we did actually is taking very well. So here's our project. On the left is a vicinity map. On the right is a detailed intersection exhibit. So that's the intersection Highway 34 and Glade Road. And we will have an access to the south there. Here is a detailed engineering drawing of our project. So the new traffic signal, as I've stated multiple times, is in coordination with Larimer County. We'll follow closely after that intersection project. We have about 10 cars in the parking lot, and it has access to 20 acres of passive recreation use, which is the wild natural area as a whole. And we're really trying to preserve the habitat of the area, otherwise the parking lot. Some potential benefits are the collaboration with Larimer County. There is a much needed traffic signal there, which I'm sure we all know at Glade Road and Highway 34, accident potential. So we're really glad that the intersection is coming in. This property will retain its ecological value and provide the public with passive recreation opportunities such as river access. That's the main reason that we wanted to put a parking area here, is to give the public that access. So fishing, wildlife viewing, potential future access to the winery to the east. And then we did want to put a potential fire truck turnaround in this location to aid in fire protection, as well as formalize site access, parking, and site management to preserve the natural integrity of the site. So we want to protect against damage, degraded ecology, and vandalism from existing trespassing out here. I want to thank you all for listening to my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? I have one question.
Yeah.
So it has informal trespass use, and you're trying to allow for some use of the property. Mm-hmm. There's 10 spaces on site, or that's generally proposed. Is that how you control the level of use of the property? Is the limitation on the park, because it's not a very big parking lot?
Right. Yeah, we don't expect a ton of traffic out here. So 10 spots was kind of our maximum that we wanted to provide. And then putting a trail and formalizing a trail is how we try to mitigate that trespassing. Do you have something to add to that?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Brian Harding, Planning Manager for Loveland Parks and Recreation. So David's exactly right. So 20-acre site in the grand scheme of things is a beautiful property, but it's not an enormous property with a heavy carrying capacity to it. So one of the goals out here is to limit the size of this parking area, to limit the amount of people that potentially can visit at any one time. We have several facilities that are also coming online. You'll actually see us on a couple more of those coming up here in the future months. That are just up the road near Devil's Backbone. It'll be the new Skyline Natural Area as well as Oxbow Natural Area, which also provides river access. So the goal here is to try to spread out that visitation to different sites and not consolidate them all to any one site.
Is there any connection with this site to any of the other sites either that you mentioned or that are under the Loveland's jurisdiction? Public sites?
Currently, no. Also a great question. There is future potential based on property owners that we have talked to potentially try to connect south across the river. Obviously, any bridge across the river is a major undertaking in itself. One other option that we're looking at, we've talked to the county over the years about the old Glade Park, which is off of Glade Road as you turn into Glade Road by Sandy's. There's still public access at that park, but there's been some discussions over ultimately who should maintain that. I think since the flood, it really hasn't been in the same recreational quality that it was prior to the flood. So we've looked at options of are there ways to get under Highway 34 at that existing highway bridge to connect Glade Park or the former Glade Park over to the wild property. So there's options out there, but there are none developed at this point. It is a somewhat landlocked and highway locked parcel, but it does provide great river access that we certainly didn't want to miss out on. So,
thank you.
Is this the parking lot? Will it be a pay lot or a free?
Did you say a pay as in
lot,
money
like,
versus
yeah,
paved?
Paid. I'm sorry, paid as in
No,
like
that's okay.
you pay money.
I know paved parking lots are always a discussion point we have with the county as well. No, so currently the city of Loveland does not charge for access to any of our facilities. And that is our current plan. So as a lot of folks know, there are a lot of discussions going on about potential tax repeals in the city of Loveland, which I won't get into too much detail on. You know, potentially we may have to look at other fee structures in the future, but currently, no, we don't charge for access to any of our site, and it's not our intention to unless financial conditions change drastically.
So I was curious about the paving of the parking lot. I see the need to connect the asphalt to Highway 34, but any reason why to pave the whole thing versus keeping it more porous?
Yep, also a great question. So I think we learned on a recent project. So we did the Prairie Ridge Natural Area back in 2019. And at the time, the county requirement was actually to pave the parking lot. And we sought a variance not to pave the parking lot. We did have a requirement to pave the first, I believe it was the first 100 feet coming off of Wilson Avenue to prevent gravel from being tracked onto the road. Ultimately, what we found is that our gravel parking lots tend to result in more maintenance in the long run. We spend a lot more time trying to regrade those parking lots. Plowing is more difficult. Drainage becomes more difficult. And actually, water quality-wise, we end up with additional issues because we continue to have these areas that really start to get muddy and kind of tracked out by vehicles. So ultimately, we did end up going back to Prairie Ridge Natural Area. We've paved that parking lot. Sunset Vista Natural Area was a similar scenario as well. So this one, we opted to start off paving this lot, again, to reduce maintenance, but also to be in conformance with Larimer County standards. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff? Any other discussion? Be happy to accept a motion.
I believe we need to do public hearing first.
Oh, we didn't do the public. Pardon me.
Or public comment.
This is why I've got John sitting right next to me. Open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak about this application? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Comments, discussion, motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the City of Loveland location and extent file number 23 zone 3549 be adopted.
Is there a second?
Is that with the conditions recommended by staff?
Yes, with conditions recommended by staff.
Okay, I'll second it.
All right, motion and second to approve location extent file 23 zone 3549 with the conditions recommended by staff. Any further discussion?
I think this is a great thing that Loveland is doing. It's in some ways, this is a smaller extension than some of the extensions to their open space and natural areas program, and I just think this is great.
Anyone else? All right, I'll request a roll call vote, please.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barnett,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Barrick.
Yes.
Yes.
Choate.
I can't be the only one missing stuff this evening, so thank you for joining me. Well, congratulations on approval of this very controversial application.
We try to keep it low key.
Yeah. Okay, and the next item, last item on our agenda is reports from staff. Do we have any reports from staff?
Not this evening, thank you.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you all.